Okay, so ABN is in Hamburg this week at the annual Aircraft Interiors Expo, a massive annual show. All around us are hundreds of exhibitors, suppliers to the industry. We've been joined now by Kevin Crowder on the Mirus stand. So Kevin, welcome to ABN.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your hospitality on your stand this morning. Let's get into what you're talking about this week to the exhibitors, what you're showing off, the products is behind us. So you've got a number of new developments, new seats. What are you showing off this week to the exhibitors at AIX?
I think if we start off with Kestrel, we have Kestrel with some different configurations of seating comfort and covers compared to what we had last year. So it is an enhanced product of what we've seen from last year.
Yeah.
And then we've got two other new products that we're showing out the front, which were behind closed doors last year.
Okay.
So we have Hawk Duo in some different configurations, and also Falcon as well.
Okay.
Both are recline seats. One has an articulated seat pan with Falcon. The Hawk Duo product is a fixed base, but still recline.
So Hawk Duo, that's the one just immediately behind us here.
Correct, yeah.
That was in concept last year, was it? So
It was.
It wasn't for public viewing. I think maybe we did get a bit of a preview of it last year when we visited the stand, but it's now available. It's now available for customers to purchase, to put into their aircraft.
Certainly to look at. We're not fully approved at the moment,
Okay.
so we're in those early
That process
stages
is
of
going on.
development.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're doing our development testing, but by the end of the year we hope to be through all of that and a certified product that we can then go and sell to our airlines.
And how does this seat take the sort of the world of seat on from what customers are sort of used to doing? Why is it an advancement on what we've had before?
Well, it's sort of in the family of Kestrel as well, so
Yeah.
we've got a lot of commonality as far as some of the core structures concerned. So it's off the success that we've had with Kestrel, but then with the recline, because some customers they don't want a fixed back, they want to be able to offer that recline. We've got about 5 inches of recline in the X direction on that particular seat. So yeah, it's a little bit different from what some other people have got out there at the moment as far as the features and some of the specification, but yeah, very comfortable seat as well.
Yeah. Talking before we started, you said, well, the key thing is give that perception of space when you're in quite a confined, obviously an aircraft is a very confined space to what people are normally, but just to give that, even if it's a few inches here and there, or just even a perception that you're in a bigger space than you actually are. How do you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the ergonomics, so it's the shape of the seat back that we have. It moves the H point of the occupant back in the seat because we have this bucketed curvature.
Yeah.
And on a normal 28-inch pitch, the minimum pitch that we have, you can be quite a tall individual and you've still got 2 inches of space to your knee to the seat back in front. And that's just because we've done that curvature in the seat and allowed the person to be further back in the seat.
Yeah. And I know obviously with anything in the aircraft these days, sustainability is key and recyclability and so on, use of materials. So how is Mirus sort of making sure you're pushing along on those?
Some of our strategies is to make sure that we have materials that we can segregate from one another, which then aids in that recycling. There's some seats that there's a lot of adhesives and things that are used, which then makes it really difficult to separate the materials. So we've got some very unique ways in which we connect our different materials together. But yeah, it's about segregation so you can recycle the seat.
Yeah. And how's the market looking? You're going to be speaking to lots of potential customers this week. We know there's ongoing challenges in all sorts of areas in aviation. It's never an easy industry to operate in, but maybe even more so than ever at the moment. But what are you seeing in terms of when the customers come on your stand today? What sort of they're looking for you as a supplier? What they're looking for you to do to help to make their lives easier?
Yeah, for them it's fuel burn is everything.
Yeah.
So it makes their airline a lot more cost effective. Great for the environment as well, as if we can burn less fuel. But for them, it's about living space, customer experience, and I think that's the biggest thing we're going to see in economy seating. Is that the customer is more their choice is ever greater than it's ever been. And it's then these airlines being able to differentiate and offer more to their customers because they want value for money.
We know obviously the airlines are struggling to get the new aircraft out to the manufacturers, so older aircraft are staying in the air for longer, so they're looking to maybe improve and retrofit new cabin experiences. You're seeing a lot of that happening, and these seats, they will do that, won't they? They will take what is an existing space and making it more modern feeling for the customer.
Absolutely, and I think our aesthetic as well, it really does uplift the cabin and make it look more minimalistic and spacious, because the seats are very slimline, but equally very comfortable. And as I mentioned earlier, our DNA is about the customer experience and the living space that you give to the passenger.
Yeah. To what extent are airlines looking to have an identity of their own as well? I mean, the seat is a seat. You can buy, any of the airlines can buy your seats, but are they looking to bespoke things so that it's their brand identity that's coming out from the seat itself? Yeah,
they can be in the form of personal entertainment devices that the head devices allow you to hold your telephone. There's a lot of airlines interested in seat power as well, because there's a lot of holiday makers that want to be able to charge their devices. So that's a big uptake or interest in that. But as far as personalizing, as far as the stitch and sew and the covers are concerned, personalizing not only the colors but the stitching that we have, or debossing that we have on the seats. So it's a big thing for them.
And you've got the seats we can see behind us, out front, out in behind us. Your product development. So you're working on the future. We'll talk to one of your colleagues in a minute about the very future. But you're working on the near future. What's coming up? So what's behind us that we can't see that you are working on as Mirus?
But behind the scenes, as it were.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we have a PY seat, Osprey. An Osprey is a twin seat. Some really cool features on that. Quite a unique in-arm table as well that you can see on the VR session that we have out the back. And it's very interactive, so you can deploy elements and footrests and change the colors. And it's just a great way for the airline to be able to visualize what they want. And then through that visualization, then give us some preferences what they would like to see in the future. Because you sometimes don't know what you want until you see what you don't want. So we really value their feedback as to development and what we might look at in the future.
There's clearly a trend for some of the low-cost guys to bring some premium seats into their cabins at the minute. So you're obviously reacting to that.
And I think as Mirus grows, we'll move further forward in the cabin. But we want to do that progressively, and we want to do that in collaboration with the airlines and what they need. So it's VR is a great way of doing that in the initial stages. Okay,
we'll give it a try in a minute. Final word before we bring your colleague in. Shows like this, for someone who's in product development, how important are they to be here physically, face to face? Because as well as you sort of communicating to a customer, you're no doubt getting feedback from them as well, which is hard to get in the day-to-day working environment.
And our sales seats go out to as many customers as we can, and we discuss with them. But this show just means that it's then accessible to a lot of people within organisations that would normally have that opportunity. We'll see Airbus soon, they'll come on, and then we can get their feedback. There's nothing better than the OEM to then tell you what's good and bad about seats. So we really value their input to what we have.
Cool. Well, that's our time up. Kevin, thanks for inviting us on the stand this morning. We'll bring in Adam in a minute and have a chat with him about what's going on in the future. So very good. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so in the hot seat is Adam Challenor now, from still on the Mirus stand. So Adam, welcome.
Thank you.
You're technical director at Mirus. Obviously, you're here talking seats. This is the latest issue of Aircraft Cabin Management, where we have seats on the front, and it's the seats of the future. So we're going to actually talk a bit about the seats of the future with Adam. What is the seats? We're seeing the seats of the now and the present behind us, but
absolutely.
When you look a bit further out, 5-10 years, maybe longer, what are we going to be expecting from a seat manufacturer like Mirus?
I think it's more of the same in terms of the trends that we're seeing now, particularly in economy seating. Densification is a key element. Getting more passengers on the aircraft, coming up with innovative ways of doing that on particularly single aisle. So A321 XLR, etc.
Without it feeling too cramped, I suppose, at the same time.
Exactly. So not only is it densification, but then it's seat weight, as well as living space and comfort. And airlines are becoming more and more discerning. So
Right.
it's not just about densification, it's not just about seat weight in terms of fuel burn and sustainability. It is still offering more to the passenger in terms of that living space, that comfort, and seat options as well.
Presumably there's a limit to what you can do because it's called
Absolutely.
a cabin space. You know, there's going to be a point that stops. So what's then beyond that? I mean, we've already seen this morning some announcements from the likes of Panasonic around in-flight entertainment, and that all airlines, even the low-cost guys, trying to provide a kind of entertaining space. So a lot of the low costs won't have seat back screens, but as they get lighter and more easy to fit and manage, maybe that will come as well. So is that the kind of thing that you think the seats of the future will be more digital enabled?
Definitely, and certainly even if there's not IFE, definitely in seat power. More and more seats are having it, and the flexibility within the seat to be able to mount and house phones, tablets as well, ped holders.
So the BYO
exactly
just to enable that a bit more easily.
And that coupled with Wi-Fi in the cabin means you can almost then have content, or you can stream content
this is it.
onto
As
your
the
phone
as the
through
connectivity
apps.
improves,
Exactly.
you need the hardware to provide that service.
And
So,
we're seeing that trend more and more with airlines, even on Kestrel with our fixed back economy. Ped holders in seat power is becoming more and more of the trend.
In terms of the materials, trying to get things lighter, more sustainable, more recyclable, and so on. I guess there's always progress there to be made, isn't there?
Definitely.
New materials coming on board. I've seen here a few years ago 3D printing for parts and so on. So is that part of the plan going
Absolutely,
forward?
But it's always a balance with cost effectiveness, sustainability, weight. So we're always looking at alternatives or new composite resin systems, plastics, aluminium alloys, but also foams and upholstery where we can look at weight as well as what it's offering the customer. But it's always a balance. Yes, you can get the seat lighter, quite a bit lighter, but it can cost significantly more as well.
Right.
And it's whether the airline is prepared to pay for that.
And everything has to be certified as well. So
Absolutely.
if it's a new material, that has to go through a fairly long process.
Yeah.
Are you finding the process becoming easy? I mean, are the regulators cognizant of the fact that maybe, particularly when it comes to sustainability, a bit of expediency is good? Or
No, it's going in the wrong direction.
Is it? Okay.
The requirements, the certification requirements continually change.
It's more onerous?
And become more onerous, more strict, particularly when it comes to HIC, actually head impact.
Right.
And flammability is always a challenge, particularly when looking at new materials. In a seat back, there are quite some stringent requirements that we have to pass. So we have to consider that when looking at new composites, plastics, and upholstery.
That's just. I mean, that's not going to change again. It doesn't sound like
No, I don't think so.
The mentality is to be more
to be
risk averse and
exactly.
Okay.
So it becomes more and more of a challenge for seating suppliers.
Yeah.
Certainly, roll back the clock 5 or 10 years ago, the certification requirements then are different to today.
Right. Okay.
And I don't see it changing.
Yeah. We know the industry is facing a lot of challenges, but not least getting new aircraft out of the manufacturers. So they're keeping older aircraft in the air longer, and therefore doing more refurbs and so on.
Yes.
So when they're looking for new seating, what to retrofit into an older aircraft, I guess they're looking at these kind of seats to turn that
definitely
cabin into a more modern experience, and that's
absolutely
where most of your work is coming from at the moment.
I would say 50-50 split between line fit and retrofit, actually. But I mean, retrofit's a huge part of it, and particularly with I'd say over the last 5 years, the technology in economy seating has increased massively in terms of weight, living space, comfort. And particularly on weight, Say an airline has a seat that's been in their cabin for 5 or 10 years, then the weight down on our seat can mean actually the payback can be 1 or 2 years.
Right. Okay.
So, there's a real compelling incentive,
Yeah.
compelling case for them to do that retrofit.
Yeah. And you've got a supply chain of your own, and we know the supply chain issues are well talked about.
Yeah.
How is Mirus overcoming your own challenges? Because you need to get these components into the factory and get these seats manufactured.
Yeah, and as a result of that, our supply chain team are doing a great job actually of not only looking at low cost countries, but also looking at suppliers locally, so that we can manage lead time, we can manage risk, and delivery, and as well, so that we've got that flexibility within our supply chain in terms of low cost, but probably longer lead time, where we need to manage that risk versus more local, UK or European suppliers.
You're based UK, you're in Norfolk, aren't you?
We are in Norfolk. That's right.
So you've got a vibrant sort of local supply chain.
Absolutely.
Evolving, actually, maybe.
Yeah,
because demand is now there, and you're looking to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, look, thanks for joining us, Adam, on ABN.
That's a pleasure.
We're pleased to come and see you, and best of luck for the show.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Bye-bye.